I know there's a floating halo around the back of my head, but please do the best to excuse that. It's an evening video today. This morning I actually got the old cast off, so couldn't get the video out this morning. But I got to get us some Week 7 NFL rankings. Now, if you've been if you've been watching these rankings, you know that what you might see one week is completely different than what you might see another week. And the team that might be number one week, as you might see here, they could be out of the list. So just know this is all about having fun. And by no means a professional. I'm grading teams based on what I saw, kind of collecting their body of work all together, and maybe in some ways projecting how I think they're going to do in the near future. I'm not an expert here, and I'm not projecting for the long term, but let's get into it. So number 10, and this week I've got the Bills. They were higher last week. I thought that the Patriots played a great game and won that one, rightfully so, at home. This week was a lot more concerning for the Bills. The Patriots, it was really just Drake May game managing, making big plays on third down. Nothing pops off the table really on those stats. But if you watch the game, you just saw how the Patriots kind of controlled the pace of the game. And the Bills' defense was not able to make a stand. The offense also looked shaky for the first time this year. James Cook didn't run the ball well. And this game was largely a lot of the same against an objectively worse Falcons team, in my opinion. I think the defense is really a struggle for the Bills. The offense didn't move the ball particularly well. They lost 24-14, and the big plays, Bijan had an 80-yard run. They were just slicing them up. Bijan in the passing game. Drake London looked like a big-time receiver last night with 140 yards and change and a touchdown as well. They need this bye week, and the defense needs to solve some problems. Next, I've got the Patriots. They beat the Bills head-to-head. Head-to-head is a little shaky because some of these teams look great one week and horrible the next. But the Patriots did beat them, and they struggled a little bit against the Saints. It was a little closer than you might have liked. But they've won two games in a row now, and another win coming off the Bills. This was a chance for a hangover game. It was not for the Patriots, and I think they're just getting better with time. The defense is drastically improving, and despite not being able to run the ball particularly well, Drake May has been able to spread it out to different receivers. It was Boutte this week, who I'm hoping I can pick up in fantasy. Fingers crossed on that one. Patriots at 9. 8, I've got the Rams. They played the Ravens, and they won. I'm dropping them just because some of these other teams, I think, played better and have showed me more. The issue with the Rams for me is injuries, and I'll keep harping on injuries throughout this list, but the offense looked sloppy, and I think that is in part for Nacua going down. I think Devontae Adams also went down with an injury. Kyron Williams looks a little bit slow right now. There's not as much of a burst to his running game. Maybe Tutu Atwell can come in and bring him something next week. The defense is very good, and the defense won this game, granted, against Tyler Huntley and company. But the Ravens were close, and they had a chance to even win the game at the end of this fourth quarter. And the Ravens defense, we know how poor that is. We've seen this Rams offense be prolific. I want to see it again, and I need to see this team healthy. But they're still in my top 10. If you're in my top 10, that's good. It's all over the place. Number 7, I've got the Broncos. They beat the Eagles head-to-head, which I'll get to the Eagles maybe at the end, but I actually don't have them in this list. The Eagles looked shaky. They've lost 2 in a row now, but that's beside the point. I think the Broncos, I've got them at 7. I think they've got one of the best defenses in the NFL. Their offense can be a little bit slow, and I need to see Bo Nix show me more. I need to see him come back, win some more games. I need to see him have some high volume throwing games. Dobbins wasn't able to do a whole lot this week. He played all right, threw an interception. I just want to see more. This defense is so good, though, that's going to keep him in games. So maybe it's a Steelers-type situation in past years where you just rely on the defense to get it done. Seahawks ahead at 6. Sammy is absolutely slinging it from the pocket. JSN looks like a top 10 receiver, maybe top 5. He's top 5, I think maybe even top 3 in yards. They're playing like a complete team as well. The defense is improving. We said the defense was a little shaky. Need to see the defense get a little better. I had them lower last week. They're jumping up this week because they got 7 sacks against a good Jaguars team. We saw this Jaguars team beat I think it was the Chiefs on Monday night. And, while the Jaguars, they've got some questions on the offensive line. I think they're good. They lost again this week, but I've got to keep moving the Seahawks up. They look really strong, and Sammy is playing great. They've got a good running back duo. This team, I might say this too soon, but this team has a lot of depth, and I think with the way they draft and such, they're more injury-proof than other teams. So let that be as it is. The Lions, I know they lost. I had them at number 1, I think, last week. They're really banged up with injuries. There's injuries all over the place, and they lost handily to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are getting healthier. The Chiefs are getting better. Still outside my top 10. The Lions, they need some rest, and they need to get back on track. But I can't drop them too far because they didn't play that poorly. They lost. They still competed. I think it was at home for the Chiefs, and I've got them there at 5-4-2. Now on to the top 4. Colts at number 4. Colts just keep climbing and climbing. They beat the Cardinals in a game where Jacoby Brissett played particularly well. I mean, he's just the epic NFL journeyman. He can win you a couple games filling in. But the Colts, they keep winning. This team can find a way to win. They can beat you in so many ways, and I was excited to see this defense step up in the red zone. They stopped the Cardinals on 4th down with a chance to tie the game, and the Colts just keep winning. Some weeks it's running the ball with Jonathan Taylor heavy. Some weeks it's the passing game. They get creative using rookie Tyler Warren in a lot of ways, which I love. He's been awesome on my fantasy team. The Colts are very good, and I don't know what to say. They just keep winning. Number 3, the Steelers. The Steelers, so here's my thing with the Steelers. To me, they look like the most balanced team in the NFL. Now, I'm not putting them at number 1. I don't know what their ceiling is yet. I don't know. I need to see them be tested a little bit more. They have not played particularly challenging games. They got blown out, basically, by the Seahawks. But right now, I think they're improving. And Aaron Rodgers is playing behind one of the best defenses in football. This, to me, almost feels like a Peyton Manning type run with a Broncos team. But Aaron is slinging it. The defense looks fantastic. Gainwell's good. They're going to have Jaylen Warren coming back eventually. There's a lot of it. Well, there are some injuries as well, but DK Metcalf has been great. Rodgers is just good, and we know Rodgers can come back. We know this guy can step up in the clutch. He's old, but he sure can play some football. So I've got the Steelers at 3. I know the Seahawks beat them head-to-head, and they're a little lower, but I just think that the Steelers' defense is so good, and they're stepping up. They're going to have some more patty cake games as well until the Packers on the 26th. They've got the Bengals this week, and then the Packers, which will be an epic showdown. The Packers I have at number 2. This team has 1 loss, 1 tie, of course, against the Cowboys. Now, you might be wondering, what in the world are you talking about? They look shaky against the Bengals. Yes, they still beat the Bengals coming off the bye. They have 14 guys that are on the injury list, either dealing with a nagging injury that played or that missed time. 14 guys across the offense and defense. They still won by more than a touchdown, and I just think that this team is getting better, and as they get back healthier, we'll see them play more and more up to their ceiling. We saw the ceiling early in the season against the Lions and the Commanders, but they looked absolutely dominant in those games, and I can't take that away. The Commanders had a little slip up literally in the rain last night, so they're not in my rankings either, but the Commanders are very good, and they will be eventually. Granted, we'll see how they continue doing, and I just think that the Packers have such a high ceiling. They also have 1 loss. I know they have a tie as well. The tie just makes you feel sick inside because someone should win. But I think they're getting better. They're going to have the Steelers. Got an easier game this week, and that'll be a great one. So number 1 is the Bucs. moving them up big time. They're also very injured, but they continue to win. This team has the comeback kid right now, Baker Mayfield, that can do just about anything that's needed on a day-to-day basis from the quarterback position. He's slinging it. He's getting hacked down, getting up, talking trash. I think the Bucs, Ibuka's injured. Mike Evans has been shaken up. Chris Godwin has been in and out. Bucky Irving has been injured as well. I don't think he's going to go this week, but this team finds ways to win, and I think they're going to continue to find ways to win. The defense is mediocre. I think they're around top 10. Maybe that's a little better than mediocre, excuse my words, but it's a good defense. It's not an incredible defense, and they just find ways to win, which is what I love. The competitive character is really good. So, a couple teams that didn't make it, as I already mentioned. Eagles not in there. I explained why. The offense just looks so shaky. And the defense is having problems as well. They're struggling to defend the pass, struggling to defend the run. Saquon has not had a good rushing game in a few weeks now. And I just think that the Eagles, they need to get back on the right track. So I'm not putting them in. There's too much balance right now in the NFL. There's about, literally looking down here at the top 20, there's an argument for almost any of these teams, maybe more like top 16 and some of these power ratings that any of these teams could be in or have an argument for it. So I don't have the 49ers. People were complaining about that. Fred Warner went down with a season-ending injury. He's the best middle linebacker in football. The Jaguars got destroyed on the offensive line, and they're about to take on the Rams again. I know it's the London Jaguars, but, I don't trust them either. The Chargers, they eked out a win against Miami, and they've got injuries as well. They just have looked a little shaky. They lost 2 in a row a couple weeks ago. I need to see more again. I need to see impressive stuff. So that's my rankings. Disagree if you want. But let's move on to the next topic, which we're going to break down one game this week because this one I think has some deeper storylines, deeper connotations here. And it is the Panthers beating the Cowboys. Now, if you've been watching it all, you know that I am biased for the Panthers. Yes, the Panthers have been horrible. And I will be the first one to point out when they are actually terrible and when they're not good. But to me, there's a lot of problems for the Cowboys. And the Micah Parsons trade has really shocked this team down the line. So maybe it's just the defense, maybe it's getting after the passer, maybe it's a whole host of problems, but this Cowboys team looks really shaky, and Cowboys fans are already calling for firing. They're calling for change. Dak can't do it all. George Pickens had 168 yards and a touchdown. He was all over the place. The Panthers defense is not good. If you have watched the Panthers, yes, they almost shut out the Falcons. This defense is not good. They couldn't stop the Dolphins a week ago. This defense is not good, and yet they stopped the Cowboys on the last drive of the game. They played well situationally. Yes, they allowed chunk plays, but they forced the Cowboys into multiple field goals that the Cowboys shouldn't have kicked, and the Cowboys defense is horrible. The Cowboys defense is worse than the Panthers. They got 1 sack on Bryce Young, 2 tackles for loss. The Panthers, they didn't get any sacks, but they had more tackles for loss. The Cowboys struggled running the ball. They ran the ball for only 30 yards. Javonte Williams was rough. And seeing Rico Dowdle on the other side go for 180 and break 200 yards for the second week in a row. The Panthers also have this kind of competitive character. This is Bryce Young at Alabama as well. They can come back and win. We saw them almost in I think it was week 2 against the Cardinals. They were down 21 points in the second half and nearly won the game. This is one of those teams that can just come back, and they're also 3-0 at home. So, sneaky Panthers here, fighting in that NFC South that's behind the Bucs. There might be an opportunity for another wild card spot. You didn't hear it from me, but the Panthers have been able to run the ball. Bryce Young has been consistent throwing it. The interception, I think, was a deflection. I don't think it was really his fault. I think it got deflected off a player's hand, and the Cowboys picked it off. It was Deron Bland, I think. But there are some real problems with this Cowboys defense, and I don't know how you fix it. How do you salvage this season for the Cowboys? They might be the worst team in the division, which would have been shocking to say considering you've got the Giants. But the old power of friendship up there, up north, and in New York, the Giants have been awesome. Scadaboo has been great. Dart has been fantastic. And the Giants are good. The Commanders, although they lost against the Bears, they've been solid. The Eagles. This Cowboys team does not have an easy schedule. So this is certainly rough for them. They're 1-3 on the road. They've played a lot of road games, but they need to come home. They need to get themselves settled. And Dak can't do it all. He needs some help from this defense. Dak's been playing great. This is one of the best seasons I've seen out of Dak Prescott. So get Dak some help, and let's just see if the Panthers keep on winning. You didn't hear it from me. So it was a great weekend of football. Hope you enjoyed my NFL top teams. Throw all of your hate, all of your concerns in the comments below, and I will see you tomorrow. We're going to do baseball tomorrow, talk about the Dodgers and Brewers. It was a great game last night, almost a choke, and excited to talk game 2 tomorrow. So see you then.